very excited because today we are continuing our series on the Best Personal Academic Websites contest. This is Dr. Cecilia Baldoni. She has created a beautiful interactive website. I remember the moment that I saw the interactive city that is a way for you to navigate to different sections of her website. And it was just I had never seen anything like it before. It was really engaging. So I'm so excited for this conversation. Cecilia, would you mind introducing yourself for people?
Of course. Thank you for having me. It's like such an honor. I'm so excited. As you said, I'm Cecilia. I am currently I'm a researcher at the Max Planck Institute for Animal Behavior, which is in Konstanz, Germany. And I've been here for quite a few years now. And I'm a scientist, but I also love to I'm very creative, and I create all these side projects and very creative projects. And I also love to interact with students and do some training and workshops. So some things that make me interact with other scientists and other people that I really like.
One of the things that was very clear on your website was your value for open science. And that was actually a term that was pretty new to me. I'm from English literature, the humanities, and I would love to hear more about open science, but especially what is the story that kind of brought you to this value?
That's a great question, because I don't think there was like a switch moment, like those things that I read about this and now I have to put it everywhere. No, that's exactly not how it happened. I think it happened quite organically. I think I'm from STEM, I'm a biologist, so that's something that we've been talking about throughout the years. And so in my undergrads it was like something there, we should be more open. It started with the publications because they're always behind the paywall, and then it moved towards the data that we share or the code that we share. So it was, I think for me it was quite, again, very organically. It was also meeting other researchers that have different views about what should we share. And then somehow it happened that I joined some societies which were for being more open and teaching also other researchers how to be, if you want to be. And I think now it's also quite a movement, because at least if you apply for grants, for example, that some funding agency, they require you to be as open as you can be. Universities help you pay for publications if you publish open. So there are a lot of things. So the conversation really is going on quite a lot. And somehow I managed to be the open science ambassador for my institute, which is it's great, but it's also something that really happened out of nowhere and was, somebody asked me, do you want to be? And I'm, sure, why not? I think I find a lot of joy out of this, and I found a lot of people who think, you find a community that thinks the same, and you share things, and it's just so empowering as well.
It sounds like the community wasn't there at the start. It was something that was more in conversation, but then you joined the society, you became an ambassador, and you found people who love the same thing you do.
Yes, and it's great.
Open science is really clear on your website. You've brought in projects, illustrations, interactivity. I'm curious about ways that you were intentionally open with what you do and what you care about on the website.
That's a good question. I think, so you mean not only scientifically, but also personally, or
Yeah.
I think that's a great point of view, because it's so we are scientists, so we are always trying to hide behind this. Well, nothing we do, it's kind of coming out of nowhere. Also, when you write a paper, you cite 10 other people said this thing, so it's not me. I didn't invent this thing, which is quite time consuming, but at the same time it's very shielding, if that's a word. It's like, yeah, whatever I'm thinking, I'm trying, I'm researching, it's either like to prove something that I know somebody else said it's true, or to disprove that I don't think that's true, but it's always based on somebody else's. And then you find yourself in this situation where you have to pitch you, like you are the product. That product, it's a bad word, but you know what I mean. It's like you are the brand, you are the project. Yeah, you are the project that needs to be pitched. And then you're like, I cannot hide behind anybody else. I cannot cite anybody. I can, the best thing I can do is to watch others. What do they share? So that's what I did at the beginning. When I didn't have a website yet, I was looking around me and I was, what are other people sharing? What are they doing? And then they were sharing maybe things that I didn't want to, or maybe they were not relevant. And then, or they were not sharing something that, but somebody didn't share this, but why not? Like, what would be the worst thing that can happen if I share this information? And then again, we are scientists, so we go down the rabbit hole of, okay, if I do this, this might happen, and this might happen. And then you're like kind of doing like pro and con of this. If I share it, what's the worst that can happen? Nothing. Okay, then I try. And that's mostly like my decision making. Like you asked me what, like the process, what did I want to share and how. I think I went through that kind of system of like finding citations, finding others, like what are they doing, and then choosing for myself if that was fitting for what I wanted to share, or what my brand was, or what me as a project, what am I all about? Yeah.
I'm curious as to why you chose a city for that interactive element. And let me just switch over to the screen so people can get a little bit of a glimpse of what this looks like. If you hover over one of these buildings, it will have a little text box pop up so you know what kind of page you're looking for. Why a
Yeah.
city?
So I found it very, very funny because I was thinking about this the other day, and I found it funny when you said, I never saw anything like this. I saw it somewhere. I saw it on another website, and what
That's
is the
great.
website? Yeah, and I thought it was amazing, and I wanted to do something like it. And if your viewers want to check, it's the Max Planck Society. So the whole societal my institute is part of. They have this kind of city kind of thing where they show like their tiny buildings with all the offices and things where to find information, and it's quite different. Like the view, like the buildings are built different, and like it's not the same vibe. And something that I was always wanted to add in my website, there are also animated things moving. There's a drone flying around, and that I found it super cool. And I wanted to do something like that. And it started all within this my city. It started all with the research icon, and that's the miniature version of the institute I am part of. That's how it looks like in real life. That's the yeah. And the city also, somehow it makes sense in my head, because for this website there are so many different parts of what makes me, that kind of like a city makes sense because there are different buildings that are like mean different things. For example, for contacts, it's a post office. And for the research part, there's a research institute. And then there is like the studio for the illustrations. And I mean, when you go around in a city, you do see different things that fit together and they make what a city is. So, yeah, I found it very fitting and I copied it from somewhere else, and that's all there is, right?
I'm curious about how you created it. Was it something that you illustrated and coded yourself?
Yes, it was
So cool.
nightmare. It started with the icon, so I really wanted to do. And actually, honestly, I think the icon, the Research Institute icon, didn't start as the goal to have it as this very complex map. I just thought, like, when you land on the page, you see the icon on the top part, and that was my goal at the beginning. And then it kind of grew like out of me. It's like, oh no, how did this happen? And yeah, so it started as like drawing it on, of course, digitally, and then somehow to put it in this web page, and then that you notice that when you hover on top of the icons, they move. And so this was a mix and match kind of situation, because you have to like coordinate all of these different parts together. So it took a bit, it took a while. And that's also something that, yeah, I think maybe we're going to talk about this later, but that's the important part for me, was that as you see it today, that was not what went online 2 years ago. It went through a lot of, addition and removal, and all of this was all public. Like all of this was there. So it was not something that, it's not ready yet, I have to work more. No, just if you're working on a website, just put it out, because it's never going to be finished. And then in 2 years, for example, now if you go today, the color palette is different. Just because I wanted to try to see if it worked. And then maybe I will change it back. It's like,
I love that. That's why I updated the thumbnails so that we could do this, because I was like, oh, the colors are a little bit different. And I like that. I like that things can be adaptable, that we can test out new things and try
yeah,
things out that work. I love that you shared that this was not something, the interactive city, it wasn't ready. It wasn't
no,
interactive when you first launched your
no.
website. So many people would be like, I need this thing to be done. Like, this is the big thing I want on my website, and I need it to be there when it goes live. But you disagree with that. You want people to
Yes,
publish their websites.
absolutely.
Mm.
Yes. If I can like share my 2 cents, and I do that also with all my students, like, you're never gonna be ready. Just put it out there. Also because maybe again, it is ready, and then 2 days later you think, I don't like this anymore. Like, the color doesn't work, and then there's always going to be something you want to change. But that's the beauty of it. Like a static website, like that you put there and you forget, that's not going to work. And if you're a researcher, every 2 months there's something new, a lecture or a conference or a publication or an announcement, and you want it to be updated. And that is not only about the content, but also about how it looks. And yeah.
You host your website on GitHub, is that right? Have
Yes.
you found it easy to work with? Do you like it? I realize I haven't had anyone on the show who has used GitHub, so I want to hear your feedback.
Yeah, I mean, it all started with Quarto. Quarto is programming language, let's say, created by Posit, which is the company behind R Studio, the software, that they created this new way of creating reports and all of that. And that was the only reason why I created a website, and I wanted to do it with that, because I wanted to learn this Quarto, and I wanted to learn how that would be, how a website would look and it would work. And so it all started by a place of, I want to learn this thing and how it works. And so, but it's not like something you can make course about, or at least for me, it's always like you have to make a project out of it. And that sounded like a great opportunity. And so I was, okay, I want to learn this. I don't have a website. Let's put it together. And in a couple of months, there was all of this mess. It was a mess. Honestly, at the beginning, it was a mess. But that was the beauty of it. There were a lot of broken links. I didn't know what to do. And then you go and fix it, and it's fine. And that's also why it's great, because I think a lot of people have this idea of it has to be ready because people are looking. Nobody is. Honestly, people are looking if you tell them to look. And that's also what I learned, that it's like nobody's there looking at me and like what I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing, like what is broken or not. If they do, it's because they want to help me. So the only times where people contacted me to tell me, this link doesn't bring anywhere, it was to help me to fix things. So nobody's out there judging you. And actually the only interaction I had about this website were overly positive, and it's like a boost in self-esteem as well, because it's like I like it too. I really like it. You like it too, and then it's great. So I think that's the same thing. GitHub feels very open and feels like everybody is out there because it's like public. It's a public repository. You can Google it ideally, but who's gonna, right? Either somebody is already following you, or you have to tell them. It's like, look, you post it on LinkedIn, you post it on Blue Sky. It's like, I just put out a website. People go there, look at it, and tell me. And that's what I did at the beginning. There were so many people then like going in there. But if you don't tell them, like you have all the, time you want. And yeah.
I really appreciate that. You mentioned something a little bit earlier. I'm wondering if I can ask about it, which is that you encourage your students to, put stuff out there. A lot of students who are early career researchers, people who feel like maybe they don't have enough science of their own yet, sometimes hesitate to create that website space. What would you say to people who have a website now anyway, something they can grow with over time?
I mean, if the issue is that, I think there's a couple of issue is a strong word, but things that could stop a potential student. One is I don't have enough to say. I don't have content. Like I have a page with publications. Maybe a student wouldn't have something to put in there. And the other one is I don't want to be so out there, which again, that we tackled already. It's not something anybody should be worried about. And actually, there should be more out there. For the content, I think students in general, and also because there is this idea that academia and science, it's all based on publication. It's a lie, because also publications take forever. And to reach a point where you have enough to show, you can wait forever, honestly. So, and I think there is also a bit of, in the open science, at least community, there is a bit of movement away from publication and more like, what is your interactions like? What is your contribution? That it's not only a publication. Like, did you present something, even with your friends or in your lab meeting? What was it about? What's your thesis on? What is your interest? Maybe it doesn't even have to be so specific, but what is interesting for you? That it's maybe more scientific, but also like on the day-to-day life, or there's some, for example, some views about what's your point of view of things, what's your week like, what is like in your lab, how does that work? Because I don't know about you, me on YouTube, I always watch these process videos, like when you see somebody do something from, either an illustration or something, but from the nothing stage to the finished product, right? It's like you like to see the process of things. So I think for students, what I say, it's like if you think deep enough, you will find so many things that you can add that are unique to you, or maybe not. Or maybe you start in one direction and then you're like, this doesn't work. It's fine. Leave it away and try something else.
You have shared projects on your website in a number of different ways. And one of the projects that has become really interactive is the shrews page. I'm curious about how you made that, because I feel like a lot of people, if they see it, are going to want something similar.
Oh yeah, that was fun. And that was, once again, it was really project related. So there was this package I wanted to try coding with. It's called Close Read, which creates this Scrollytelling experience. So if you have it in RStudio, you download this package and then you can create this page in which you scroll and the things pop up. And it's called Scrollytelling. I had to Google it. It's a thing. It's real. I didn't invent it. It's been there for ages. And it's used a lot in journalism, because like on a web page, it's great because everybody scroll. Also on a phone, it's like, or nowadays it's one of the most intuitive things we do. And it really creates this experience of like diving deep. It's like not a page that like with written content is like images and things that pop up and very interactive, and you're very into the story. So I wanted to learn how to use that, and so I thought, why not put it on my webpage? So that was again the whole thing. Parenthesis, if you don't know what to do, like what content, like this kind of projects are great because you can just take something that a paper you read something and just try package or yeah, parenthesis. And that was again was something that was in the making but was online all the time, because also on GitHub if you update something, that gets updated on the web page immediately. So that was online, but it was like changing, and I added things and I removed things. And then at some point I was happy with the end result, and I posted the link. It was there all the time, but I posted the link on LinkedIn, and it was like, look guys, oh, this is so cool. And it got so much traction that I didn't expect. Like people really enjoyed that as well. And I think also the combination of being a very niche topic, like not many people know about it, and told in a way that it's very easy to understand. You don't have to be a specialist to understand this story. That really got a lot of attention. And then I was asked to give like workshops about this or webinar. And I am not, I didn't invent anything. I did like this package was there. This Scrollytelling kind of thing is not nothing I did, but people still wanted to know from me, like exactly how did this came to be, what was the process, and this is so cool because I never thought this would be something, right? And so traction can come from so many different places that you might not expect.
Is that something you're open to in the future? I feel like if someone comes to me and they want something, I'm going to send them your way for a workshop. That sounds great.
This is super cool. As I said at the beginning, I'm so happy when I can like not teach, but tell other people like to things that they might be curious on, but I'm not so sure it's something for me. It is like if you're curious about it, it is something for you. So then you can try, and then if you don't like it, you can just throw it away, but still you should try.
I feel like your story is unusual in the sense that you knew you wanted to learn new skills. You knew you wanted to learn new programs that would help you tell your research story. What's clued you in that learning was the right path here, not outsourcing or like hiring someone to create it for you, but that you wanted to do it yourself?
I think it's just, it might be very basic answer, but I think because I think we answered it already. It's like because you learn yourself how to do it, right? If you outsource things, which is completely fine, I do that all the time with things, but I do that with things I don't want to do, or I'm not so, yeah, things that are not so intriguing for me, things that I'm not interested in learning. On the other hand, if it's something that I really, this looks like a cool thing, I want to learn how to do that. And that doesn't mean that I do it in isolation. Most of the time I do it in public with other people. It's like we share something or somebody share it on LinkedIn, and I'm like, how did you do that? Where can you help me? Where did you find the resources and things like that? So this is not, of course, for everything, and not everybody has the same interest. But I think if you do have something that got your interest and you want to learn, not to be perfect on it or super specialist. I don't think I am in anything that I shared. And it's not like I'm like whatever a guru or absolutely not. But come to a point where you're happy with the result and you're like, this is quite nice, and I made that, and I don't have to go forward, or if I do, it's that's also fine, but that's a point I can be happy with the result, and now I can move to something else that I want to learn about.
There are so many people who are in the other camp. They're like, I don't want to learn, or I don't have the time. But you
Yeah,
still would
time.
encourage them to be more open with their science. So it sounds like outsourcing is a good solution, but not the one you chose for yourself. And I love that you are someone who published your website, adapted it, changed it. It's going to continue to grow and change over time. I feel like that's so much better than a static, never changing website. Mm.
Yes, yes. I think it gives you also a lot of power over things because the things I do outsource, I don't have much power over them. Of course, I can say what I want, and I can say, but then it's my power is limited. I'm constrained by my understanding of things. So I can ask the moon, but then the other person's like, yeah, that's not gonna cut it, and I don't know. Um, so it's like also gives it's very empowering, but then I think you really said the correct thing there. Time is such a constraint. Like, of course, all the things I would like to learn, oh my god, there's no time for all of them. So yes, you have to delegate. Yeah, that's life though.
I so appreciate you. This has been such a good conversation. Is there anything that you'd like to add before we wrap up, especially for people who are maybe at the start of their project and they're going to be creating their website in the next few months?
I think again, if you have this doubt of like, I don't know what to do, what to put, then I see you. I understand that. Pick a project, something that you want to do that maybe has not much to do with your research or whatever, but you can find a way to make it fit. Honestly, and if you feel like I don't want to be so open, I think you have to remember that you can be as open as you want to be. So also, like in open science or in anything, it's a gradient. There is no like black or white situation. You can be as open as you want to be, as open as you're comfortable to be, and nobody's out there trying to judge you. And if they are, it's because you want them, you want feedback, and you want help. Yeah.
I think that's one of the most beautiful parts of having a website space. It can adapt. Maybe it's a project that you're unsure of and you don't want to post it yet, but it's drafted and it's ready for you to share whenever that time is right. So thank you so much, Cecilia. This
Thank
has been
you
so
for
good.
having me. It was great.
Ah, I love it. I love it. Stay on for a sec. We're just going to wrap up the stream.